Oh boy, are these women being exposed or what? Oh boy, are these women being exposed or what? Especially the so called black women, or it should be so called black woman. Let me begin by saying all praises and glory is due to the Heavenly Father. His name is Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakudash. Shalom to you, brothers, and you true sisters of the household of faith, the hopeful elect, the tabernacle of David. And I got another one for you, another video. Hopefully you find this one edifying as well as exhorting. Oh boy, are these women being exposed or what? And what inspired me to do this video was a video put up by the older man. That's the brother to the left of the screen. His channel is Ask an Older Man. The title of this video is Why Black Women Are Blaming Black Men for Their Struggle Today. And they're always blaming the so-called black man. Now, everything that's wrong with the world is the so-called black man, according to the so-called black woman, the majority of them. Well, check this video out. Without further delay, let's go right into it. And of course, I'm going to stop it where I need to, and bring in some scriptures for even more edification. But having said that, let's get into it.
Without partnership and without rest. And that's where the root lies. Survival, about the pathology behind why so many black men appear comfortable, even satisfied, when black women are struggling.
By the way, fair use, fair use. If the older man should see that I'm using this content and not using it for monetary purposes, just strictly educational. None of my videos are monetized, so this is strictly for educational purposes. So fair use, fair use.
This is not random. It's historical. It's systemic. Black women have been conditioned to perform to exhaustion, to prove love through suffering. That narrative didn't start with us. It started with slavery, where black women were bred to endure, labor, and survive, often without protection, without partnership, and without rest. And that's where the root lies. Survival was normalized for us, and struggle became our love language.
Oh, gosh, man. This woman's video has been making the rounds, and I just felt that it's just so disingenuous and frustrating to listen to it, because I'm hearing this from a lot of other black women. And of course, it's pointed at my channel and what I say when I tell black women, get back into their freaking space. Understand who they are and what their role should be as women and as black women. And so that's what I want to address.
And the scriptures support that. The woman's role is to help the man, is a helpmeet to the man. That's in Genesis 3:16. All right? But these so-called black women, the majority of them are way out of order. And this is why even in the scriptures it says, surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. That's what Esau has done. He has turned everything upside down, including destroying the so-called black family. And how did he do that? By raising the woman over the man. Even when you go in the book of Jeremiah 31 and 22. Let's go to that. So there's a big realization coming, and it's through the internet, to these so-called black women in particular. Men are waking up, man. Like this older man. You're going to see when you watch the video. We're going to go right back to it after I read the scripture. Jeremiah 31 and 22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth, a new thing. A woman shall compass a man. Right, and we're living in that time now. We're living in a society where a woman has compassed a man. Now, when you go into that word compass, I forgot what the Hebrew word is there. Let me look it up. But it literally means to go around a man's authority. I remember I looked that up a long time ago. So that's your feminism, that's your strong, independent black woman, all that nonsense. And you know what proved they're not strong and independent? When it was brought out that they would not get their benefits. You saw an army of so-called black women losing it. All right, chimping out, as they say, losing it on social media, talking about how they're gonna just walk into the store and rob the store because they're not gonna get their benefits. Which was clearly a psyop. That was a psyop to see the response, especially the so-called black woman would give to them not getting their benefits. The next time is going to be done, is going to be the real thing. All right, they're going to have to, eventually they're going to have to take that microchip to get their benefits. Anyway, let's look up the word compass. Compass. There we go. Yep, sabab. I remember. Sabab. That's the Hebrew word. And check it out. It says to turn, turn about, or around, or aside, or go back, or back, or towards. Now here's the definition there. Here's the part. Go about or around, surround, and circle, change direction. So go about or around a man's authority. That's why it says a woman shall compass a man, meaning go about his authority, go around his authority, sidestep his authority. And that's exactly what Esau has allowed these women to do through the feminist movement, basically, and supplying them with the government goodies. That's enabled them to be so-called, quote-unquote, independent. When they scream about independence, they're sucking on the government's tit, screaming independence. They need to look up the word independence. All right, and they're not strong. And like I said, mentally they're not strong, because when it was found out that they weren't going to get their benefits, they started losing it. And this was before they actually cut the benefits. So anyway, let's go on.
And so that's what I want to address today, because it's one of those frustrating events that are occurring, and a lot of black men are just pissed off at it. Oh, she's saying that this is something that happened from slavery, and it's bullshit. That's just total and utter BS. The division of the black woman started in the late 60s, 70s, when the government stepped in and broke up the black man and the black woman. After slavery,
the government stepped in and broke up the black man and the black woman. Now, if you go in the book of the government goodies that the so-called black woman was getting, when it was announced that they might not get it because the government shut down, which, but like I said, was a psyop, they started losing it. Now, this is found in the book of Isaiah 32 and 11. It says, tremble ye women that are at ease, right? One of the reasons they were at ease, because they were getting all kind of government goodies. SNAP, they were getting housing, paying, $100 for rent, and getting them juicy government goodies. Okay, there's different programs which really benefit the woman, right? So Isaiah 32 and 11, tremble ye women that are at ease, be troubled ye careless ones, strip you and make you bare and gird sackcloth upon your loins, meaning all the hell that's about to come upon you, because this society is heading for destruction, right? Now here's the point. It says they shall lament for the teats. What are the teats? The government goodies, the government nutrition. Like the word teat goes back to the word tit, which means nutrition. That's what you get from a tit. The baby gets milk from a tit. That is nutrition for the baby. So the government teats are these government programs, these different government programs, SNAP, programs for their babies, programs for their health care, and programs for their living conditions. Oh, they're getting taken care of. So now, when they did the PSYOP and it looks like they weren't going to get their benefits, they started what? Lamenting for the teats. Just like it says here, Isaiah 32 and 11, they shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant vines, or for the pleasant fields, actually, for the fruitful vine. See? So they started lamenting, right? So let's go back and hear that again.
The division of the black woman started in the late 60s, 70s, when the government stepped in and broke up the black man and the black woman. Yep. After slavery, by
offering them what? Government teats, government goodies. And when it was mentioned that they might lose those goodies, they started lamenting for it because that cramped their easy lifestyle. Rise up, you women that are at ease. Many days and years shall ye be troubled. See? But let's move on.
Women were married at the highest rate, even above any other race. The black man and woman were together. Slavery did not do that to us. It was government assistant. It was Section 8. It was all of these other programs that were designed to break up the black family. Where
it was designed. That's the key word. Designed by Esau to break up the so-called black family. Take the father out of the house. Because if the family has if the head of the family is absent, then the family becomes what? Dysfunctional. And that's what Esau wanted. Esau wanted a dysfunctional household concerning the so-called black family, because the top wicked elite of Esau know that we're the Israelites. So this is an example of they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, get rid of the head of the family, which is the father. Okay, Psalms 83. So that was systematically done. You can't tell me it wasn't. It was systematically done to get the so-called black man out of the way. Okay, Psalm 83 and Psalm 83. I'm sorry, Psalm 83 and 3. They have taken crafty counsel. So that was part of the crafty counsel, to get the man out of the way by offering the woman government goodies, whereby the so-called black man, who's already under curse, couldn't keep up. And the government giving these women free money, free this, free that, the so-called black man became obsolete. He wasn't needed. So many of these so-called black women, they opted for the government programs, the government teats, the government nutrition, than their own men. Okay? Which makes them what? Which makes them a traitor. And a lot of them are going to pay for that, man. You'll see when we watch the video. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. That's the wicked elite of Esau. How can we destroy this so-called black family? Oh, I know. We'll take the man out of the family, the head of the family. We'll destroy him. That way the family will be wide open. All right? Many of these so-called black men have been raised by who? So-called black women. That's why many of these so-called black men are emotional and effeminate. And many of them end up in the jail cells or in the graveyards. Okay? So it was systematically done, man. Top wicked elite of Esau have always had it in their mind to destroy us as a people. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance, right? You still hear the name Israel, but the people that get credit for it are not the real people of Israel at all. The ones that should get credit for it, the so-called Negroes all the way down to so-called Mexicans, they don't get credit for it. That us being the true Hebrew Israelites that the Bible speaks of, because we're destroyed as a nation. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Where the black woman took the government's check instead of keeping the man in the house. So stop the crap. Combine that with feminism, and feminists push about, oh, strong black woman. She can do it all by herself. And that narrative is what push you, ladies, the only friggin' race of women. You don't hear Chinese women saying, oh, I'm strong and independent. I don't need no man. You don't hear that from white women. You don't hear that from Indian women. I'm strong and independent. I don't need no man. Only freaking black women. Where the hell do you think that shit came from? You felt for the freaking government okie doke. So now, when you actually exhaust, because this young generation, they're freaking soft. You grew up in a soft era where our parents who did
the women have become, excuse me, the women have become masculine and the men have become effeminate. Again, that was all by design.
Bulk of the work and gave you something. Now you're sitting there and you were never bred to be hard and tough. But you still have the same traits that your mother has taught you because you never grew up in a household with a father. You think that you can be the strong, independent woman with, 1, 2, 3 baby daddies and you don't need any freaking help from a man? No freaking human being is designed for that. Not even men. Which man wants to have 3 kids and struggling trying to keep a job and trying to put food on the table for those kids? Why do you think you women can do it when men have much more stamina and strength than you do? When men need less resources to survive than you do? Let's hear what all the crap she says here in this video.
But here's the pathology. When black men see black women struggle, it validates their own perceived strength. If we're exhausted, it means they are needed. If we're overworked, it justifies their underperformance. The struggle of black women provides cover for black men's lack of accountability.
No, it doesn't. The black man is simply...
Meanwhile, the so-called black woman has no idea of accountability. All right. She has no idea of accountability for all the madness that she has done and is doing. No accountability on her part, but always the accountability for the so-called black man. You can't make this shit up, man. That's why a lot of so-called black men are telling the so-called black woman where to go. All right. They don't want nothing to do with them. And rightly so, because they're starting to really see that they are truly our enemy. As it is written in Micah 7:10, she that is mine enemy shall see it. Shame shall cover her. All right, talking about this so-called black woman. Anyway, let's go.
Showing you that you actually need him. Black men have never denied that he don't need.
And you know what? And we're starting to realize we don't need you, so-called black women. You in particular, we don't need you, you so-called black women. We can lay down with any other woman and bring forth our kind. Because we carry the seed. The man carries the seed. 1 Corinthians, the 11th chapter. So in reality, we don't need you, so-called black women. Your nasty, funky, stanky attitude. We don't need it. And we're not going to tolerate it. All right? And there's only one way for you so-called black women to go, and that's straight down. Straight down, okay?
Wife. He don't need a woman. This has been your freaking pathology. And now that you're tired, you're trying to bring it back to the black man that he's criticizing you. No, exactly. The black man is just trying to say to you, we told you so. That's all black men are saying when we freaking criticize you and you reach this point where, hey, I'm freaking struggling. That's black men saying, I told you so. He's not bringing you down.
Yeah, because the average so-called black woman ain't really listening to the average so-called black man. And the average so-called black woman despises the average so-called black man. Those are facts. So he would do well to leave her alone and to get away from her. What does the scripture say? I would rather dwell with a lion. Let's get that. Dwell with a lion. Dwell with a lion. That's in there. All right, let me try this. Brawling woman. And that's really talking about the so-called black woman. Especially when you read the energy of that scripture, Proverbs 21:9. It is better to dwell in a corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. That's a brawling woman. That sounds like a so-called black woman to me. All right? A brawling woman. Let's look up that in the Hebrew. A brawling woman. Hebrew word there is madayan, right? Madayan, strife, contention. And tell me that ain't the so-called black woman. She actually enjoys bringing forth strife and contention within any relationship. She doesn't feel alive unless there's strife and contention. Then if there's no strife and contention, she gets bored. That's why she loves getting up with these dysfunctional so-called black men, because there's always strife and contention. It makes the relationship exciting for her. Yeah, okay.
You don't. He's pointing out a simple fact. But the problem is most of you don't want to be accountable for the bullshit that you fell for. Yes, you fell for the okie doke that you don't need a man. And then when you're freaking exhausted and tired, you're complaining when the man say, I told you so. Because that's all I'm saying. I'm saying to you ladies, no. Do you understand what black men have been telling you? That you need us.
Guys, if you're feeling the effects of a swollen prostate, don't wait for it to get worse. You don't need meds.
I'm saying to you ladies.
Yeah, you need us, but in reality, we don't need you because we carry the seed. But you so-called black women, you're going to come to the realization that you need us, especially to get into the kingdom.
It is? No. Do you understand what black men have been telling you? That you need us.
Some black women are facing serious challenges. Struggling with weight, drowning in debt, raising kids alone, and adopting behaviors that push away the very support they want. These issues didn't appear out of thin air, but ignoring them makes things worse.
You need us. We want you. You need us. We need you.
Yeah, well, the so-called black man that has woken up to the truth, we don't want you. We avoid you like a plague. But you're going to find out you need us. Let's go to Isaiah 32:1. We're the protection, not you. We're the future, not you. Inside joke. Isaiah 32. A so-called black man doesn't need a so-called black woman to bring back the family. He alone has the family jewels within his nutsack. He can bring back the family. He alone. All he needs is a woman to impregnate, and guess what? He's brought back the family because he's the head of the family. Isaiah 32:1. It says, actually, I want to go to the second verse. And a man shall be as an hiding place from the wind. What does that mean? A man shall be a shelter. A hiding place from the wind is what? Shelter. So a man is going to be your shelter in those days, the days that we're in now, as things get more crazier and more crazier, as it is written, the love of many waxing cold. When you look that term up, wax cold, it means psycho. The Greek word there is psycho, which means insane. So as more and more people become insane in this world that we're living in because of all the hell that's going to come upon it, you so-called black women will find out that we are your shelter, especially a man that knows this knowledge is truth. That's the greatest piece of shelter that you can have. All right, this is what it says here, Isaiah 32:1. And a man shall be as an hiding place from the wind and a covert from the tempest. That's what's coming, the wind and the tempest, in the form of more and more terrorist attacks, more and more psyops, bringing in chaos, more and more chaos. And what's the benefit of all that chaos for the wicked elite? That's what brings them order. Like the motto, order wipe chaos. So you bring enough chaos that'll scare the people into accepting your order. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the order is to have everyone chipped. So it says, a man shall be in hiding place from the wind, meaning protection from the wind, which is a metaphor for all the hell that's coming, especially coming here to Babylon the Great, America. Tempest from the wind, and a covert from a hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest. Another word for tempest is a storm. Now, years ago, Alex Jones did a video series called Terror Storm, and in those videos, he goes into the coming martial law and what's going to happen there and the different scenarios. Okay, so a man is going to be your protection, you women out there. All right, so that's what I'm reading here. And a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. So we're going to be their protection. But a lot of them so-called black men are walking away from you so-called black women. So you're going to be out on your own. And so you should be. All right, let's get back.
We need you to bear our kids. We want a nuclear family.
We don't. We can go to the women of the other nations and bear our children. And the women of the other nations would like nothing better than to get up with the so-called black man. We're a hot commodity right now. You so-called black woman, you're not a hot commodity. All right?
You have produced the worst product. Kids without a father. And most of you women who are bitching and moaning about these things grew up without a father anyway.
That's right.
When our hands are full, they never have to reach for more. There's also the generational wound. Many black men grew up seeing their mother suffer alone. Instead of recognizing her exhaustion as a result of abandonment and systemic harm, they internalized it as the natural state of black woman.
And he's going to address that too. Because, first of all, it's a well-known fact that 80% of women initiate divorce. So it's almost impossible to live with a so-called black woman. She's very melodramatic, okay? She's very bipolar. One day she's up, the next 6 days she's down. You know, so it's almost impossible to live with her. So that's why a lot of brothers are just leaving to keep their sanity. All right. Let's go. Let's keep going.
As a abandonment and systemic harm, your mother became a single mother not because the man didn't want to be there. Right. It's because she felt it was preferable to get a check from the government rather than from that man. Exactly. And guess what? All she's doing is mimicking what her mother freaking did to her. She never grew up in a family with a father either. And you all called it male abandonment. Men don't abandon their child. women.
And that goes back to the curses. The man end up leaving the child. That goes back to the curses. Let's read that. He shall leave. We're going to read the curse on that. Deuteronomy 28. Yep, there it is right here. Deuteronomy 28 and 51. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee neither corn, wine, or oil, and the increase of thine kind, or flocks of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee. That's exactly what the so-called white man has done. He's destroyed the so-called black man, the so-called black family. This is it. Deuteronomy 28:34. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye, meaning his mind, shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children which he shall leave. The remnant of his children which he shall leave. So that goes back to the curses the Lord put on us Israelites for being disobedient. All right, let's get back to the video.
And you all called it male abandonment. Men don't abandon their child. Women refuse to have the man in the house so that they can get that child support check.
Yeah, there was factors that led to a man abandoning his child. All right, there were factors that led to it. One of the main factors was that big daddy government and their stipulations on what the woman has to do to keep getting those funds, and also the fact that the man has been taken out of the house. The man has been destroyed from the so-called black family. See, so that what you're seeing is a fallout of all of that, all of those problems. You've seen a fallout of it. Anyway, let's go on. And the so-called black woman refused to yield and accept accountability for her actions. All right, that's why she's going to be left. She's going to be left behind. All right, so let's go.
And all of those other perks they get from daddy government. You all have to wake the hell up and realize that you are responsible for the crap that you're now in.
A hard truth. Raising children without stable partnership is incredibly difficult. Some black women are carrying a load that was never meant to be carried alone. But we also have to acknowledge the choices involved. Choosing men without long-term character. Confusing chemistry with commitment.
Choosing men without long-term character. So-called black woman's not into that. Those kind of men are boring. She wants to choose a guy like with nothing but drama, because she loves drama. All right. Basically, your Pookie and your Ray Rays, your street dudes, in and out of jail and whatnot. Those kind of guys get her wet. The so-called black woman get her excited. But in reality, those kind of guys are not productive. They're degenerate. Anyway, let's go.
Seeing fatherless households as just how it is. Children feel the consequences. Women feel the consequences. Communities feel the consequences. Accountability isn't cruelty. It's care for the next generation.
Instead of freaking settling down and working with a man. But no, you prefer to have babies by Pookie, Ray, men who are not that responsible, men who you can control and kick out of the house and don't really care about being there, and then you call it abandonment. I'm going to kick him out. I don't need him. I don't need a man. I don't need a man. I don't need a...
Yeah, I don't need a man because she's getting government handouts. She's getting her nutrition from the government. So she can easily say, I don't need a man. All right, she can easily kick out the man that's within her home. And that's another reason why we advocate for you brothers never to move in with no woman. And you make sure you have your own place. And don't move her in with you, especially if it's a so-called black woman. Do not move her in with you if you want to have a peace of mind. Let's go.
And which man is going to stick around in a place where he doesn't feel needed?
Here's why normal deodorant sucks.
People always ask me, why is Carpe so much better? This is why.
Please, tell me. If a man said, I don't need you, I don't need a woman, I don't need a woman, would you stick around? So after you push the man away, then you complain that he abandoned you. Make that shit make sense, man. Make that shit make sense. Because this is the delusional world that you women live in. It's insane.
They expect the next woman to endure the same, to carry the weight without complaint. When Black women choose softness, peace, or joy, it feels like a betrayal. It challenges the identity they...
So-called Black woman doesn't choose. What kind of Black woman is she talking about? This woman is she's just talking nonsense. The so-called Black woman don't choose softness, joy, and peace. All right, so-called Black woman chooses chaos, dysfunctionality, and drama. That's what she chooses. The average one of them.
Built on the back of our struggle. On a psychological level, there is envy, a twisted sense of control. If Black women are resting, living well, or choosing ease, it forces Black men to confront their own...
Choosing ease. Rise up, you women that are at ease. And they don't even really choose ease. They choose discomfort. All right? They're easy at choosing discomfort because it brings in that drama, that necessary drama they need in their lives. And I believe they're the only women that do that. Women of the other nations, they don't do that, man. They're about getting with their man, getting a man, and settling down with that man.
Their own contribution or lack thereof. So instead of rising to meet us, some would rather drag us back into the mud. Because if Black women are free, who will carry the burden? Who will excuse their stagnation? So let's be clear. The comfort some Black men have in seeing Black women struggle isn't love. It's codependency. It's a learned helplessness wrapped in misogynoir and generational pain. Until we address this pathology...
There they go with that word misogyny. I have no idea what it means.
Black women will continue to be punished for seeking what should have been ours all along. Peace.
Why would you want to get it for a woman like this? It's all about the so-called Black man. It's all negative. There's nothing positive about him. It's a damn shame, man. But that's the curses. Hold up. Deuteronomy 28:56. Let's read that. The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness. Now here's the point. It says, her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom. That's the so-called Black man. Toward her son and toward her daughter. Her eye shall be evil, meaning her mind. Listen to what this woman is saying. It's pure evil. I mean, again, it's like the so-called Black man is the worst thing since a plague, according to this woman here.
Seeking what should have been ours all along. Peace, rest, and freedom.
Freedom from who? Freedom from who? This is where the contradiction in your brain has to freaking wake up at some point. Freedom from who? Oh, from Black men. So you want freedom from the man, but you...
And honestly, us brothers at GMS, we have no problem giving it to her. You want free? Good. We have no problem giving her freedom. I won't have nothing to do with her because she's totally dysfunctional and she's a head case. Okay? The quicker the so-called Black men realize that, the better off they'll be. The more sanity they'll actually have.
Want the support from the man? Is that what you're freaking saying? See, when you women freaking talk, you just expose your bullshit every single time. Just talk long enough and a woman will just expose her bullshit. This world is designed for man and woman to live together. It's in every single freaking culture. Every single culture. Except the American Black culture, which has permeated throughout all other Black cultures around the world now, where I don't need a man. The strong, independent Black woman. The narrative is everywhere.
For behavior and attitude, survival mode has become a lifestyle. Many women grew up being told, be strong, don't need anybody. And strength is admirable until it becomes defensiveness, disrespect, or a combative personality that sabotages relationships and opportunities. If every disagreement turns into a fight, if every correction feels like an attack, if every conversation turns into a power struggle, that's not strength. That's unhealed stress and unhealthy communication. Survival mode served a purpose. But some people are stuck in it long after the threat disappeared.
And as long as the economy is good and the government has enough money, she's good. She's happy. She swears that this whole pathology actually works. However, when the economy turns, when inflation starts to rise much faster than her paycheck, when the child comes in and her expenses rise and her age rises and her ability to succor men out of getting more money, when all of that starts to dip, what do you think happens to her? The suffering begins.
Major issue with many older single
Rise up, ye women that are at ease. The suffering is beginning.
women today is that they have mastered physical maturity, but never developed emotional maturity.
Are you looking to establish your business using an address other than your home? Wish you had a professional business address.
Adult, but their behavior
Yeah, what's an example of emotional maturity? Not stop choosing men that are totally useless. And it was never the woman's job to choose a man anyway. That was the job of her father. But the father is not in the home, so there you go. It's a cycle of dysfunction. It was the man that chose the prospect husband for his daughter. Let's move on.
that of rebellious teenagers. They react instead of reflect. They lash out instead of listen. They avoid accountability as if taking responsibility for their own life would destroy them. When you try to correct them, offer guidance, or hold up a mirror, they shut down, get defensive, or run straight into delusion. It's self-destructive, and everyone sees it except them. A lot of this childish behavior comes from the fact that nobody ever checked them when they were younger.
Nope.
Their family coddled them. Their friends hyped them up. Society
Dropping it on the so-called black woman.
told them they were strong black women who could do no wrong. Every bad decision was excused, every outburst was justified, and every mistake was blamed on a man, the world, or circumstances.
In particular, the so-called black man.
She gets on TikTok and starts to complain and whine and digital beg, you know. And the men respond in kind.
Bruh, I cannot stress this shit enough. Stay away from broke, struggling females. Stay the fuck away. It is a headache. It's irritating. They're beggars or leeches. If you a nigga, you on your shit, you got all your shit together, date somebody on your level. Date somebody on your level. Stay away from broke, struggling females. It's nothing but headache.
That's another thing. I'm about to start screening bitches. Like, if you on Section 8, or if you got anything going on with you going through like a bankruptcy or crisis or something, somebody just died in the family and you need to make up the money, the difference to for the funeral, leave me alone. Don't come to me.
What I want to tell my brother would avoid poor girls. If you see a poor girl, run. Poor girls are like witchcraft. If you see a poor girl, I've seen a witch. There's no difference between a witch and a poor girl. Run.
Woman, that's what you asked for. We've been warning you for years. Every single content creator that are male, that are in this...
And what those men said, you shouldn't have no problem with it, you so-called black woman, because after all, you're strong and independent, right? You can do bad by yourself. Well, there you go. You're going to be by yourself. Years ago, that's what you used to say. That was your favorite saying. I can do bad by myself. I think they even made a movie with that same title. So hold that attitude.
Space have been warning women. Winter's coming. Winter's coming. It didn't start with Kevin Samuels. Just that Kevin Samuels grew really big, he became very prominent. But other content creators were telling women this from day one. This happens every single day.
Off our talking points, because we were talking about the woman way back in 2007 when we first came on YouTube. You had the Rasta Skank video, which went viral. So us cursing out a woman because she was out of order with our camp. Anyway, let's go.
On turn in the economy. Let's listen to another lady, how she sees the black men keeping them down.
Men view women's suffering as their success. Is this true? Well, men want us to be their servants. We say we don't want to be your servants. We're human.
Well, and you're supposed to be our servant. The word woman means a female servant. That's your job. You're supposed to be a helpmeet. See, a woman like that she ain't gonna make it, man. She is not gonna make it. Not at all. All right. You know what? Let me get Genesis 3 and 16. It just came to mind. Genesis 3. That's what these women don't get, that they were created to serve us. Genesis 3:16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, it's called labor pains. And thy desire shall be to thy husband, that's the so-called black man, and he shall rule over thee. So you are supposed to be our servant. We're really supposed to, in righteousness, that is, rule over you. You're supposed to be our servant, but a lot of these women ain't trying to hear that. So again, leave them to their own devices. Avoid them, leave them. And when they come crawling, say, nah, I don't want to deal with you. Unless you change that nasty, funky attitude, we won't be dealing with each other. So it's over for these so-called black women.
Want to be your servants. We're human beings, and we want to do things that we want to do, and they take offense to that.
Oh, Jesus. Why is it that women use these words? Black women. What do you think most men's goal in life is? I just want you ladies to think about this and then understand how stupid you sound when you say men want us to be their servants. What is a man's role? Protect and provide. Protect and provide. What is a woman's role? Nurture, be a man's peace, and be his helpmate. But you know what primary role a man
and
has?
The word helpmate means servant. The word woman means servant. It's from the Latin. Female servant or female attendant. They don't know that.
To do, protect, provide.
Yeah.
So how the hell can a man be a provider but you're his servant? And it depends on what you mean by the word servant, because serving your family is part of your job. That is part of the exchange, the social contract.
What did the book of Titus say? I would therefore the woman guide the house. Bear children, guide the house. Guide the house means serve. Servant, serve the house, take care of the house. Then she's supposed to serve her husband, love her husband, serve her husband. That's how the Heavenly Father made it. But again, Esau has turned everything upside down. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay, which means nothing. Because when Yahushua comes, he's going to put things back the way it's supposed to be. He's going to put everything back in order.
That you have with a man. He provides, you serve, but you're both serving. His service is providing, not only for you, your selfish ass, but for the kids, the child, or the children that you both have. He helps with everything, so you don't have to suffer. But today's modern woman, every little single thing that she does for the family, that's her suffering. Apparently, she's supposed to live in her comfort, which is to do absolutely nothing. She wants a freaking maid. She wants a chef.
Do absolutely nothing, which means to be lazy. That's why a lot of them are morbidly obese, because what are they doing all day? Absolutely nothing. All right? Absolutely nothing.
Wants a freaking butler, and she sits back and looks good, while her man busses his ass to freaking pay for all of her comfort so that she can rest in her femininity. I've never heard such a pile of crap as this expression, rest in her femininity. Women have always had to work. Even the freaking kings, queens, princesses, they've had to work. They had different types of work, but they had to freaking work either way. For some reason, you women think that, oh, the man is the workhorse, and he's supposed to go out there and bust his ass for me so that I could rest in my femininity. But yet, when a man say to you, hey, do X, Y, Z, do this, do that. Oh, he just wants to be misogynist and he just wants to be controlling. Get the hell out of here, man.
That's why women like this, they ain't going to make it. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. The channel is Ask an Older Man. The title is Why Black Women Are Blaming Black Men for Their Struggle Today, and scriptural, goes back to the curses. A lot of these women ain't gonna make it. A lot of these women are gonna be destroyed. Okay, because they have the wrong mentality, the wrong mindset. Anyway, on to the next.